Ethan, good job on your 3 body paragraphs, and also your formatting looks very nice. You have your name, my name, your class, your date, you have your running head, you have it double spaced, you have your title, you have all your dress ups in each paragraph, and you can see here by the rubrics and the grading that you got an A on the paper. Very good. There's just a few things I want to go over, and then we're going to work on a new technique, or the next technique, which is called clinchers, the next writing technique. The first thing I found was this one right here, this it's. I'm just going to write it in a different color. It's. You really wanted this to be it, like it has. It has flown ever since 1994. So that was one of your usage errors that I right here marked down on, because that should be a contraction. It has flown ever since 1994 and was the first weaponized unmanned aerial system. And then this one here, this sentence, the Predator's reliability rate is the highest rate out of all of the UAVs, comma, because it is operational by the U.S. Navy and the government. This because is a clause after our main sentence, and we don't give it a comma. Well, it won't let me change it. So if you'll remember, the because is like a www.asia. Right here we have the Predator's reliability rate. So here's our subject noun. We have our linking verb. The rate is the rate. We have a predicate nominative. The Predator's reliability rate is the highest rate out of all of the UAVs because. So if you'll remember, when we have our main sentence followed by a www.asia, or in this case a because clause, we do not get a comma. If it's the other way around and we have our www.asia or our because clause, we do put a comma before our sentence, but not if it's after. There is an exception to that, but we're not using that exception yet. So that was a punctuation that I marked you down on, just not being able to use that comma correctly. But these are really minor little things that you just need to work on and be aware of. The last one was a fragment, and that one's a pretty serious one, having a fragment. And I think you made a fragment trying to use that who which clause, and it is right here, this MQ9 Reaper, which can be disassembled into a single large container for deployment anywhere in the world. See, you have your subject noun, and then we have our who which clause, which goes on, which can be disassembled into the single container for employment anywhere in the world, but we don't have a verb. And so that's what makes it a fragment. You have a nice clause there. The MQ9 Reaper. And I think the easiest way to fix this is, let's just go ahead and delete the MQ9 Reaper. And I'm going to delete can fit in the C-130 Hercules and be transferred. So our sentence would read, the MQ-9 Reaper, and then we have our who which can be disassembled into a single large container for deployment anywhere in the world, can fit in the C-130 Hercules and be transferred. So when we look at this who which, the who which theoretically should be able to be taken out and the sentence still makes sense. So if we took out our who which, the MQ-9 Reaper can fit into the C-130 Hercules and be transferred. See, there we have our subject noun, our Reaper can fit. It's really a helping verb and a verb. And when you put your who which, just make sure you can pull it out and you still have your subject noun and verb. Sometimes we'll put commas around the who which, but not at this stage because most of the time our who whiches are essential, so we don't put commas around them. Those are little things, and I do want you to correct them because we'll be using this for our next part of the writing process. So at this point in the writing process, you have learned to find your source, to do your outlines and summary, and then write from your outline, and then dress it up and format it. And this next technique we're going to use is called clincher technique. And these are techniques to just bring the flow of your paper together. And when we use a clincher technique, we take the first sentence of our paragraph, and then we have the rest of our paragraph. And then we have our last sentence in our paragraph. And what we do is we pick like 2 to 3 words out of our first sentence, and we repeat it in our last sentence, so that we have some unity in that we're beginning and ending that paragraph with the same key words. And let's go ahead and look at your first paragraph here, and we'll do that together. And you can change it when you write it yourself if you want. So our first sentence here is weighing around 1 pound, the wasp block 3 has a wingspan of 72 centimeters. And I didn't see this a while ago. All numbers between 21 and 99 are hyphenated. I didn't see it. I'm not going to mark you off for it. So that would really be 70-2. Weighing around 1 pound, the wasp block 3 has a wingspan of 72 centimeters. So we want to pick 3 of these words and include it in our last paragraph. The Air Force, who is developing a water landing version, is confident it has a bright future ahead of it. So our sentence is the Air Force, and here's our who which, is confident that it has a bright future ahead of it. And you just kind of pick out your favorite words or words that will work. The Air Force is confident it has a bright future of it. The Air Force is confident, and we might just pick this 1 pound wasp block 3. That's actually 5 words, and put that in there. The Air Force, who is developing a water version, is confident that the 1 pound wasp block 3 has a bright future ahead of it. And so we repeated, let me get back to, so we repeated 1 pound wasp block 3, and hopefully that will cinch our paragraph up, because we started and ended with the few of the same words. So we're trying to have some unity, that we're beginning and ending the paragraph the same way. And so I want you, for your homework, to write clinchers, and you don't have to use this clincher that I made. You can pick up your own if you want to do something differently. I want you to do a clincher for each of these paragraphs, these next two, a clincher for paragraph number 2 and a clincher for paragraph number 3. So repeat 3 to 4 words in the first and the last sentence. And then, so we're going to work on our clincher technique, and we're going to work on our sources cited page. And I'm going to add a blank page. And for the MLA format, it's a 1-inch margin, which I think you already have a 1-inch margin. And you always start with works cited, and you put that centered. And then you're going to take your sources that you had for this paper, and we need to go ahead and go left justified, and I want you to list your sources here using the hanging indent. Now these sources are going to be in alphabetical order. And they should be double spaced using the full 2 points. And if you use your citation machine, the sources you should be able to copy and paste them. I think you already had cited these sources, but so basically you're just going to have to copy and paste them. Make sure that you've got them in alphabetical order and that it's double spaced using the full 2-0 and that you're using the hanging indent. And if you'll remember the hanging indent, if I can find it, I always have to look for it. It's one of these paragraph. The hanging indent is going to be special and hanging, and click OK, and then it will automatically make the hanging indent, and I had tabbed over there, so that's what I'm looking for this next assignment. For your clinchers, and so your next assignment, I'm going to be looking for clinchers, and we're going to work on the sources. I guess it's works cited. Some books might call it bibliography. For the MLA style, it's works cited. And of course you have more than one. So works cited. The works cited should have a 1-inch margin. It should also have your running head. But since you already have your running head here, when you add that works cited page, it should automatically add it to that page also. And your works cited page, use the hanging indent, double space, make sure that you've used the citation machine, and just make the changes, correct that fragment, make those changes, do your clinchers, works cited page, and turn in your work to me next Monday. That's the end of the video.